Hello, this is Brickman195 from the channel of Brickman Brothers. You probably came to this video after the ISP Mega Campaign 2021, so I'm gonna use it as an example how to use Tollpack and make things similar to this. So this is Tollpack. You click it by this. One thing to note, on multiplayer, every single body sees this window. So you can use it like that. So there is two ways to use it. Either there was a war and you want to fix the borders, you don't want to use player-led peace conferences because you want to, have use the game mechanics, don't entirely discard them and stuff. So this is the state management tool. You enable them by clicking on them, then you click on the state. Now you can mark them, and then you click on this. Transfer ownership will transfer the ownership. Transfer control will just transfer control. If you transfer control, it looks like this, but if you depause, like you start the plane, it flips back if you are not at war with that country. So control just makes you control it. If you're at war with a country and you transfer control to its land to you, then after the peace conference you're gonna have it land. This particular tool doesn't work with setting capitals. It's a bug that hasn't been fixed. As well, you can you could add and remove cores. But one thing that I recommend, if you're gonna add the cores, I recommend adding them before you transfer the control to. You can also mark all the colonies if you want for that country to have all of the colonies or the cores or all the states. You can also mark only the occupied states, and you can also clear all the marks because it's the easy way out. One more thing that you can use to demilitarize and remilitarize states. For some reason the demilitarization is green, remilitarization is red, which I don't know why, because I would put them other places. There's claims which are just gonna make justification faster. So when I do multiplayer games with my friends, I will add claims around the countries. When I'm fixing the save games, like editing a few more tweets, like stuff. So a few more things. The state annexing tool. Now you select it, and a lot of times, if you're changing stuff around, like you annex the country and you annex back, every single time click this button, because quite a lot of times you accidentally gonna select a lot more countries than you want to annex and stuff. Always click this button before progressing, because it might just be already something tagged, and you don't want to put it like that. So you can annex all the army. This is gonna annex entirety of the troops and all the unit leaders. You're gonna gain, what you see right there. I didn't meant to annex that country. So you're gonna gain all the army leaders from this. So if you annex it with a navy, like you only with a navy, you're gonna gain all its navy, but I didn't add any navy to this nation. And if you enable coring, you can enable all of these individually. You can have whatever you want. So if you enable the coring, all the annex states will be cores. Next is puppeting tool. There's not really a lot about it. You can just set them to one of these, the menu. Not that it will change ideology, so think about it. Changing ideology is that you select one of these, select change, like that. Now you're democratic. Now if you want to change the ideology in some mod that alter the ideology, so preferred method is to let's just say that non-aligned ideology is some kind of modded ideology. So you make this country a puppet of it. Now, and then you just release it, and bam, you change the ideology. Now, thing is, you mark the country that you want to become a puppet of, and then you select which kind of a puppet. You can also mark that country, click on another country, and just make it free. Also, about ideologies, is that you can, if you had selected this thing, you can not only change its politics, but you can also change its party popularity, like that. You can also reduce it, which will distribute it evenly. We didn't have any of them. So now, all the ideologies that already have support will gain some of, will get, the ideology group that you're reducing support for, its support will be distributed evenly throughout those who have support. You can also change diplomacy, like mark the state, add a bigger opinion value, bam, and now these two states will like each other and will have a lot bigger chance of joining together in a faction, but you can also reduce it if you want to prevent them from joining. You can also make guarantees like that, like mark a state, add a guarantee. You can also subtract them like that. Okay, and the next thing, you can click on the stance. It's like leave a faction, dismantle faction, create a faction. You can select a country and add them to different factions. But in order to add them, I believe you have to click on the faction's leader. You can also make a civil war. If you press shift and you click, you can select what kind of rebelling ideology it is. Note that you only can do it once. You cannot start a civil war when it's already happening, which is sad, because you can do it with commands. So yeah, now we have two nations. You can also reduce or raise the threat level. We'll show it over here. Here how it works. You can also go into the negatives, like make the world threat lower than 0. It will be lower than 0, but it doesn't really show. Now, yeah, let's just disable that. Okay. So you can also set countries to major and not major, but setting them as not major doesn't really work. For me, I believe that only doesn't work for the nations that are in default a major nation. So setting them major, I believe, just does some. Just makes if we're in the faction with, and the faction leader has capitulated, the war will still go on, because we will have them to be capitulated. You can edit stability and war support over here as well. And then we have the research slots, which for some reason can make some graphical issues. If you're having graphical issues with research slots, then just click back on them and click out of them. It will fix it. You can add or subtract some. Yeah, you can also reset them, you can also set them to 0, and you can also set them to 100. Now, there are creation of troops. There are two ways of doing this. The first way, if you select which kind, you select the battalions, you select how much. Now, think about them. We're all going to be veterans. There is no way to change that. Whatever you do, we're all gonna be veterans. You can also make a few of them. Also, it researches trucks and tanks if you don't have them. Like, you can spawn all of these together, like, in one. Now we have a state with all of these. But I like to use this one. So, usually I reduce amount of equipment because this is how it is in vanilla. We're usually 80% equipped. 10% is just trained. If you get them 0, we're gonna be literally untrained. You can put them up, you can put them down. Now, every single time it creates a new template, like this. So the created by the B tool is called crack unit. And you can, and what I do is that I add a lot of experience that I later use to edit them. Like if you want to make this like a tank division, but you don't want it to be like extremely powerful, you can just, you don't want it to be like elite trained division, just like a small division like that. Well, you can do it. You can also remove that XP with a command. So yeah, this is how I usually do it. This is also a shipbuilding tool. Select what kind of ships and where do you want to put them. It will also unlock them. You can add some convoys with it. So now I believe, yes. So we spawn in different islands. It's not a lot about them. There's also the buildings tool, which has a few issues. Can add, subtract, industry, naval dockyards, infrastructure, airports, anti-air, radars. I believe it researches them. No, it does. Refineries, nuclear factories, that. Now there's a lot of different stuff. Now, if you're making bunkers, if you click this is just gonna add bunkers on every single tile. Now you have to click this button, which will limit construction to only the border regions, so it doesn't place them randomly. Now there is also the same thing for this one, which only constructs the coastal forts on the places of naval bases. And also toggle this, which will make them only construct naval bases where there are. So aka it's gonna breed them. You also could mark all states over here if you want to make fast changes. There's also Manpower Tool, which adds and subtracts manpower, and Civilian Population Tool, which edits the population of the state. This thing. You can actually see the civilian population over here. If you look at the where it is, yeah, eligible core population available. You see that thing? It says 498.95 million. And there's also a resources tool. So yeah, this is practically it. And there's a few more tools that I will go around in part 2 because I don't have time right now. Goodbye.